Good evening, everyone. All right, so I have to record first. Wait a moment. All right, so everyone, welcome back to the Global Entrepreneurship 2025. It is a collaborative online international learning program organized by Telkom University Indonesia, University Tun Hussein on Malaysia, and also Daffodil North State College, Philippines. So I'm Nafi as the chairperson for today's class. And also joining us today, our excellent speaker, Mr. Rolando P. Bansar, MBA from the NSC. So welcome, Mr. Rolando. And then we would like to welcome all of you, the students from Telkom University Indonesia, UTHM Malaysia, and also the NSC Philippines. So welcome to the sixth chapter, the sixth chapter of the Global Entrepreneurship 2025 under the topic Operational Management for Business Startup. So without further ado, let's begin our class. So Mr. Rolando, you may begin your presentation and maybe you can also give them the introduction first. All right, welcome, Mr.
And thank you so much, Ma'am, Professor Novino, for that warm and kind introduction. So, by the way, as mentioned, I am Mr. Rolando P. Bansag Jr., or with me, my student called me Lance. That's my nickname. So, I'm from Davao del Norte State College, Philippines. And for this evening, or in business world, and for this morning, we are going to discuss the operational management for business startup. So, allow me to present first my presentation.
You still mute, Dr. Len?
Ayan, may I ask if that's audible po?
Yes,
That's visible.
yes, visible and audible.
Ayan, thank you so much, Prof. Yan. So, once again, in business world, ayan, good morning, everyone. So, may I greet na lang everybody with their language. I don't know if it is correct pronunciation, the salamat pagi. Is that right?
Since it is evening, maybe we can say selamat petang in Indonesia.
Patang. Okay.
Yes.
Yan. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yan. So, once again, yan, good evening, everyone. So, first off, and thank you for being here today. That's very nice. At the same time, I truly appreciate you taking such investment in a way with regards to learning, because for now, or for this evening, for this session, believe me that operational management is one of the most powerful skills that we can develop as business startup or business entrepreneurs in the future. At the same time, if we want to plan for a startup or either grow your business. So before we jump off into a heavy stuff, so may I have first a sort of icebreaker? May I ask quicker question lang? Quicker question or quick question, and that would be, we do have reactions pa. And so may I ask, or can someone tell me of what are your dream job or what are your dream startup business? And let me ask why, if you don't mind. Can I ask some, because I'm not around during your first session or second session, so this is now the time I'll try to reflect with your preferred business startup in the future. May I ask one from Telu? I pronounce it right.
Come on, Telkom University students. You
Yeah,
can
welcome.
try to answer what is your dream job and why do you want to be that? Uh, okay. Okay, Amin, he wants to start a hot dog franchise.
They're in the chats.
Yes.
Ayan.
Mhm.
Okay. Amin wants to start a hot dog franchise. Okay, franchising business is very good. Particularly, it's not a right with regards to startup because that's too expensive, but that's
Mhm.
an innovative mindset naman because they want to start big, of course,
Yep.
but I guess you have enough money. Yeah, and second, we have Ramadhani. He wants to expand Asian hot dog to national level. Okay, very creative at the same time, risk taker. As risk taker entrepreneur at some point. Okay, from my hometown, the DNSC.
Come on. Students from the NSC, you may directly speak up, or
Where
maybe
are
you can
you?
drop the chat. Mhm.
Who's na? Ayan. Apartment or real estate. Yeah, because that's something that's royalty or something we don't need so much effort. And because we're just lying on our bed at the same time, we do have money. Okay, very good, very good. So that's awesome, no? So that's why I am asking with that question because that's something we need to look or deeper at deeper level. So that's why today is very important. So again, I am Mr. Orlando P. Bansag Jr. and it's my pleasure to guide you to our session for this evening, the operational management for business startups. So think of this as your startup engine room. So for that room, it's what will your power business to run effectively, scale smartly, and stay sustainable over the long haul. Because nowadays, business is not just for creating or establishing such profit. It is more about thinking about social responsibility and being sustainable. So now let's start with the presentation. Okay. Ayan. So building a solid foundation is crucial for startup success. Effective and operational management ensures sustainability and scalability. So now for this evening, this presentation covers key aspects for operational strategies for the new ventures. So when we say startup success, it is not just about having a great product or even a great idea. So it's about having a solid foundation. So let's for instance, building a house. So even though you build a house with a beautiful design, aesthetic design, a very good interior, so but if your foundation is weak, then the house won't survive during or after the first storm. So therefore, we talk about a solid foundation for our operational management. So it should be having a solid foundation which one can handle growth, address challenges at the same time, adapt change for you to be more effective and more efficient. Okay, so that's my full name if you don't hear clearly what I've said kanina a while ago. Yan. Next is understanding the operational landscape. So we have key components which are vital for the new ventures or for the startup businesses. First is um process design. So process design, this is to craft an efficient workflows. This helps the organization. At the same time, it also helps the employees to be more productive at the same time, much guided for the things they want to do or they need to do for the benefit of the organization. Second is the resource management. This is to optimize limited resources. So using what we have as an entrepreneur or what we have as an organizational value. So we need to use them smartly, allocate proper resources to a specific job that they are skilled enough or they are good enough to that certain things they want to accomplish. Then third is team building. So organizing the right people for the right jobs. And with the help of developing organizational structure, we're able to capacitate the value at the same time we help the employees guide them. We guide them to the things they want to represent. Who are they who are they represents at the same time, the things they need to accomplish all over their working status. So, example, imagine a small coffee shop. So, if your process for taking orders, making coffee, and second activity or role is to make service to the customer. So, if that isn't clear, that job is your description, and then maybe it will lead to mistakes, at the same time waste ingredients, and will lead to unhappy customer or dissatisfied customer. So that's the reason why we need to be clear with our vision, at the same time clear with the things we make aware with our employees. Next is, where is it? And so we have here an example of an operational flow chart. Okay, this is an output of the undergrad student. I just um screenshot their outputs. And so we have the operational flow chart, and we have the time schedules, the employees involved or the workers involved, at the same time its closing time, and the body includes the activities of specific role or specific employees or personnel. So now, this presentation, or look at the chart presented on your screen. So the operational flow chart, there's something quite not right or wrong with the chart. I mean, there's quite wrong with the chart presented. So based on your observation, can someone or can anyone tell me what's the reason why I said that there's something wrong with the operational flow chart or with the chart being presented in the screen? Okay, I'll give you at least 1 minute to observe and to analyze and to figure out what's some reasons, or what are the reasons why I said that there's something wrong with that chart. What's wrong with it? Okay, and the 1 minute starts now. I need one representative per school. Okay, anyone? Okay, for Ramadhani. Okay, this is a man. He participated twice already, and his answer, the owner going to the store is typed twice. Very good observation. Actually, that's the first reason why it makes wrong, or the chart makes wrong. Another, aside from that, because I guess that's too obvious, no? Thank you, Ramadhani. That's correct, actually. Other observations. Because to tell you honestly, there's three reasons why. The first reason was then answered by Ramadhani. Okay, there's none. Really, it really have this. I have this conclusion now that you really need this session, because somewhat you can really get the points or the mistakes of a certain illustrations pa. Okay, okay. To make it faster. Yan. So first mistake. Ayan. So there's actually three main issues, or three main incorrect points with the flow chart, or with the chart presented. First is the opening time, or the opening time where the owner will go to store at 7:30 a.m. for preparation. they presented it redundantly or repeatedly. So that's correct observation by Ramadhani. Second is, if you look at the chart, it shows that the owner arrives at 7:30 a.m. to prepare things, to prepare the stall, to prepare the kitchen, etc. and to open the doors. And but since it is supposed to be an operational chart, it should include the time when customers are expected to come in. Again, so since we are talking about operational, so they are tend to operate things, ha. So it is supposed to be operational chart, so it should include the time when customers are expected to come in. So as it is now, it looks like the store starts catering to customers immediately after 7:30 a.m. because there's no time clearly presented of when the customers are ready to be inside the organization or be inside in the company. So it is it come to the point that after 7:30 a.m. they are, or the organization or the owner or the entrepreneur are ready to cater the orders of the customers. But according to the service crew, uh, just look at the service crew chart or column. It is presented that when they're still cleaning the tables, the chairs, and even sanitize the stall, the cook is still cleaning the kitchen area and where the PPE or prepare the kitchen tools and materials. So what happened is customers are already entering the hall or the stall while the cleaning of the stall are still in progress. So there's two actions happen during the after 7:30 a.m. First is a service crew and the cook are preparing or cleaning their stalls or their stations. At the same time, the customers are freely entering the organization or the company. So that practice is really not a good operational practice because no matter how beautiful or well designed your stall is, if your customer walks in and sees or even smell cleaning supplies, it ruins their experience. It ruins their satisfaction or it ruins their customer journey. So that's why the chart should include a clear indicator or indication that the store opens at 8 a.m. and that once they open the store 8 a.m. and that's ready for catering the orders of the customer. So for example, giving at least 30 minutes for preparation between 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. So it should be presented that 7:30 a.m., that's the arrival of the owner, and that happens to open the stall or to open the organization or the company to prepare things. Then 8 a.m., the stall will be open for the customers. So therefore, there are 30 minutes allowance for their preparations because and that is 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. That's their preparatory time. So after 8 a.m., so they are now ready to cater customers' orders. So it should be posted here. I don't know if here, after clean and sanitize stall, tables, and chairs, or for the cook, prepare and clean the kitchen area and wear PPE. After that, box, um, 8 a.m. or the time for opening time for the customer should be indicated or posted there. So after 8 a.m., present the menu, take orders, accommodate customers, prepare customer bill, save orders to customers on time. And this is now the third issues why this chart is incorrect. Because third, the chart doesn't show any time allocation for activities after customer service ends. After that, serve orders to the customers on time. They should be they they need to include closing activities. What are those closing activities? For example, we have the inventory counts, or let's say for service crew, cleanliness, or they tend to clean the stall, tables, so that for the next day or next working days, they tend to furnish the stall or prepare the cleanliness of the tables and chairs. And for cook is to clean and sanitize kitchen area and the equipment. That's example of a closing activity. So therefore, after that, serve orders to customers on time and gives the ready to eat product to the service crew for serving. Up 4:30 p.m. should be indicated there as their cut-off time. It means that they don't accept orders already with that 4:30 a.m. So 4:30 p.m. so that they still have 30 minutes to prepare for their exit and before they leave the stall or their company. So that's it. That's the three reasons why this service or this operational flow chart is incorrect. So therefore, in summary, for us to establish an effective and clear or comprehensive operational flow chart, we need to clearly define opening time for the owner, at the same time opening time for the customers to enter the company. Second is to allocate proper preparation time before opening. And third is include closing activities such as clean up and inventory counts, and it should have proper allocation of time for that closing activities. Okay. So far, do you understand the content? Hello? So far, is it all right? Or I'm okay? So, okay, there's no response. I guess it's okay. Silence means yes. Okay. So now, as presented as the incorrect part of the service flow chart, we have here the correct one, and not totally perfect, but at least it gives us wider view of what should be done or what things to be done in preparing for the operational flow chart. So we have here. So it was then clearly defined or clearly indicated that the owner arrives at 8 a.m. to clean or to prepare the store. Yeah, and at the same time, with the help of the service crew and cook, and some of them or one of them will be going to the stall with the table and chairs, and one of them cleans the store or kitchen areas for 30 minutes. Then after that 30 minutes for 8:30 a.m., now they are ready to cater orders from their customers. So customers are now ready to enter the store. So for service crew, their obligation is to handle orders and cash register, set up materials and ingredients for rice seasoning for their product offerings. And third is to serve customers and cleans the area after the customer leaves. So it is clearly stipulated after work. Then for the cook, ensure food safety and quality standards, prepare the ingredients for short order foods, and provide the order in times. And for the third issue, yan, wrap up at 4:30 p.m. to clean and sanitize the store, kitchen areas, count and secure cash registers so there's an inventory count happens, and restock supplies for the next day. So before they leave or they close the store. So they have also 30 minutes yan, for their closing activities. So it is clearly defined. At the same time, the two personnel were guided comprehensively of what things they should be done and how and when they need to accomplish that things. Okay. So next point is the service flow chart. And service flow chart was defined as a visual representation of the I can see the screen of the steps involved in providing services to customers. So it outlines a sequence of actions in the customer service processes, including receiving service requests, collecting customer information, assigning ticket numbers, resolving issues for customer service actions and ending service requests. So later on, I'll be presenting a table presentation with regards to the difference between operational flowchart and service flowchart, because some way or some point the two terms were used or utilized interchangeably. So here's now the sample service flowchart. So here, this service flowchart emphasizes the customer service and order fulfillment. So it starts with the arrival of the customer to the store, then followed by giving them menu, then allowing them or giving them time to select order. Then after that one, payment procedures. And there's some store then na they allow the customer to pay after they enjoy the service. So we have two ways or two methods to deliver the products to our customers. First is to take out basis or take away basis. Second is for dine in. So we have another charts, another flow of how they give the products to the customer, of which two methods were presented. Okay, so here's now the difference between operational flow chart and the service flow chart. So by definition, so operational flow chart is a diagram or a chart that shows the sequence of activities or steps in production or manufacturing process. So just highlight the word production or manufacturing process. That's the main focus. That's the main point of operational flow chart. While service flow chart focuses with the interactions in a service delivery process. So as per mentioned, with regards to its focus, operational flowchart focuses on production, assembly, inspection, storage, and transportation of goods. That's a reason why in the operational flowchart earlier, as I presented, we need to include the inventory count, because again, the storage, the inspection, are even production are part of the focus or scope of area within operational flowchart. And service flowchart focuses on customer interactions, service, service delivery stages, and support processes, as presented with the service flow chart earlier or previous slide. And so most of the activities or the flows of the chart are purely interaction between the provider towards their customers. So then it should have the customer interactions. Then primary elements for operational flow chart, this includes the machines, workers, materials, operations, and inspections. And for service flow chart, focuses with the customers and the service providers, or the two trading person or persona. We have the buyer and the seller. Okay. Then we have here the nature of process. Yan, for operational flowchart, usually physical and mechanical processes, while service flowchart, mainly intangible because they focuses with the customer experience, and that experience is intangible. We can touch that one, but we can feel. Yan. Then for the objective of operational flowchart, this is to optimize the production process, reduce waste, and improve efficiency. Yan. And for service flowchart, this is to improve service delivery, customer and service efficiency. Okay, and example industry for operational flowchart is particularly refers to automotive industries, electronics, textile, pharmaceuticals, or those part of let's say monopoly and at the same time oligopoly. Yan. Then service flow chart focuses with hospitality, healthcare, banking, education, or retail, or let's say the outputs. Yeah, the outputs, or let's say a technology base, somewhat like that. Then interaction level, yan, low customer involvement for operational flowchart, because that happens within your institution or within the company. Where service flow chart, since their focus is on customer interaction, therefore there is a high customer involvement, which focuses on both customer and the one who provides the service or the one who render the service. Okay, and the outcome for operational flow chart is a physical product, while the outcome for the service flow chart is the service experience, and that's again an intangible one. Okay, So that's the difference or the key difference between the operational flow chart and service flow chart. Therefore, in the operational or in business plan section under operational management, we should include operational flow chart at the same time as service flow chart because again, as presented on their differences, they have different focus, different objective, at the same time different outcome. And both of them are really important or vital for us to establish an efficient and effective operational transactions or operational standards. Okay. So next is we have the resource allocation. Okay, for the resource allocation, so startups usually have limited resources. So we need to be more smart. We need to be smarter. Yan, especially in making decisions or allocating resources because again, scarcity really exists. Yan, not just in big companies but even in micro or small companies they still experiencing limited or scarce resources. Actually, I do have a micro business, a bookkeeping industry type, so wherein I really do have limited resources with regards to my human the labor or the human resources. So I have problem or issues with that because of the limited budget I have. So yun. So startup usually have limited resources like for example for budgeting. So every peso, every dollar, every euros, every yen must have a purpose. So that's the reason why every now and then, after we purchase things, after we acquire items, there should be an liquidation for our monitoring purposes or to make sure that the objective or purpose of spending that item is really worthwhile. Second is the time. Yan, scheduling is crucial and efficient and crucial and vital or essential. So we need to prioritize what matters most. So at the same time, some organization they do have contingency plans or contingency budgets and for those emergency or for any fortuitous events. And so even time or schedule for the employee, yan, we need to take consider that because um so that the workers will not be exhausted and less than unproductive members of the organization. Third is the staffing. So we need to assign the right person for the right task. So they should have a clear, qualified skill that really aligns with the job you are offering to them. Okay. So for instance, as I've read a while ago, Airbnb. I guess you are familiar with that company or with that application. And the Airbnb started, they personally photograph listing because they couldn't afford professional services. So they prioritize user experience over flashy marketing. So they tend to be more innovative and creative to the decisions or to the budget allocations. So yan, instead of hiring professional photographer, and so they have they maximize their personnel skills. So they maximize their personal skills. So therefore they they minimize the cost for marketing campaigns because they have this personnel who has the skills for the job, for the actions they want for at that time. Okay, so next is managing cash flows. And this is also important. And this is part of operational plan because once you didn't operate effectively your cash outflows or cash inflows, then probably the the reason why startup failed, it is possible that we also experience that one if we didn't manage our cash outflows or inflows effectively. For example, running out of money. And so that's very the main reason why business startup really fail Yan, so we need to operate our finances for its sustainability. Okay? So first, we have some tips here for us to manage effectively the cash flows. So first is to invoice quickly. And second is to follow up on receivables, because after collecting those receivables, this will be our cash. So this will be debited with our cash. So third is manage your payables smartly. And fourth is stick to a realistic budget. So we need to establish or develop a realistic budget. So it means that all items should have or must have its own purpose. So let's say for example, if you sell online, so don't wait until the end of the month to build the customers. As soon as you are ready to build the customers, then go with it. So don't wait for 1 month, for 2 months. Yeah. So before you will get give bill to the customer. So once the bill is ready, and so give it to the customers, or give it the customers, or the one who lend or who borrow money from your organizations. Okay. So yeah. So to address the problem with regards to money, make sure that your cash inflows should be greater than the cash outflows. So that's the very important, that's the most common, or the common advice I can give to for us to effectively manage our cash flows. Then next is building your team. Yan. So in building your team, so it includes hiring, training, and even preparing or developing an organizational structure. So this included recruitment. Recruitment pertains to attracting talents or prospects. And after that one, we screen them because we need to select the best talent. Then for training and development, so we have this onboarding and skill development. So example, instead of hiring your friends or relatives, so hire for skills, attitude, and potential. Actually, it's okay to hire a friend or a relative. Just make sure, actually in Philippines it is not that advisable because the conflict of interest may arise, but it depends with our culture and with our organizational culture. But if you do so, make sure that that friend or that relative really has the qualified skill, the right attitude, and the greater potential, because aside let's help them, or let's make them as an asset of our company instead of being a liability. And so in the at the same time, in the early age of Google, the founders interviewed every single hire personally. So for them to see the sincerity of its potential applicant, at the same time to compare the skills, the experience, and the attitude of one potential candidate or potential talent to another potential talent. So that's it. So therefore, a dream is built and it is not found. So therefore, you need to recruit, screen, train, and onboard that staff or the personnel properly. So with our vision and with our hand to help them, so will help them also to be in a direction where the company goes along with. Okay, so that's a way for us to efficiently build our team. At the same time, it helps us to increase positive workplace culture. So we have here example of organizational structure. This example actually is from undergraduate students. At the same time, this usually used or utilized for startup businesses, because again, due to limited resources with regards to its budget, with regards to the human resources, with regards to the labor, with regards to the capital investment, with regards to capital expenditures. So here comes now the limited number of employees or workers for the organization. So we have the owner, and we have three personnel. the service crew, the cook, and the kitchen assistant. So let's assume that this organization is offering a food product. And so we have three personnel. And as you've observed, the bookkeeper presented in with a line up with a broken line. So compared to service crew, cook, and kitchen assistant, a straight line. So really it's the straight line. We employed a straight line for them. So the bookkeeper is presented with a broken line presentation because that bookkeeper is not a regular employee or not necessarily um uh on duty for 8 hours a day or 40 hours a week. So in other words, it seems like he or she is a freelancer. So he or she is in on-call duty. So in Philippines, we call the bookkeeper every end of each calendar period or for for schools, yan, for fiscal period because in accounting we have two accounting periods, the calendar periods and the fiscal period. So we call the bookkeeper to check our transactions, to prepare our financial statements, yan, every end of calendar period. So that's the reason why we don't consider bookkeeper as our regular employee. But it does not limit to that point. It's not limited to the point. You can still make bookkeeper as your regular employee, given that you need to pay him or her on in Philippines we do have this what we call minimum wage. So as long as you give a payment aligning with their expertise, with their job responsibilities, and you may as long as you have your budget for them. But for example for my startup business with regards to the food, and so I have these three employees because I can pay them in accordance to the money I receive every month as my sale or as my net income. And for the bookkeeper, you can if any freelancer you would like to integrate with your business operations, they should be presented in a broken line. And because that represents that they are not a regular workers. Okay. Next is the technology integration. Yan, this is very nowadays very important given that we are living in this digital era where the use of technology is very rampant, or the use of technology is very essential to make our business operation more convenient at the same time more accessible. So selecting the right tools for growth will help us to be more efficient. Yan, to measure the scalability at the same time to increase the level of productivity. So let's have this in mind that even we are a startup business, we are not limited to use technology. We are not limited to integrate technology with our business operations because there's a lot of technology based or technology applications that is cheaper or that are cheap, yan. So for example, for sari-sari store today, so particularly in Philippines, I have observed a lot, yan, sari-sari store or market, yan, a small market or convenience store, yan. So they have already integrated technology to their business transactions or business operations. And that application or that system are called the point of sale or the POS. So wherein with that POS, you are able to track your sale, yan, to track your sales at the same time, monitor inventory or stocks at this. Aside from that, you can also print all the data being gathered or collected from the POS. So with that, you can easily get a copy of your total sales for each month or each day if you want. At the same time, immediately you will also be able to know of how much stock you need to buy or how much stock are need to be replaced or need to be scaled up or screwed up. So that's it. So that's the main point of having POS, given that in a market or in convenience store, and the inventory counts is very challenging. For convenience store, the inventory counts are very challenging because you need to count each item one by one. And compared to the manual tracking, so counting all the equipments, all the items one by one and record it out to your paper or to logbooks, etc. But with the POS, you can immediately get the total number of remaining items for that brand. And at the same time, with that, you know already if you want, if there's a need to repurchase an item or to acquire another item with this another brand because it lacks of stocks already. And at the same time, you know if what inventory method you will going to utilize. So as presented, I guess it was then presented with your professors, and we have two methods, usual or common methods or tactics with regards to inventory counting. So first is the FIFO, which is particularly or usually utilized by food industries, not the pharmaceutical, food industries, um, food and beverage. And because we talk about FIFO method or FIFO, that's first in, first out. It means that, well, whichever comes first or the first in line, yung first finished product, yeah, the first finished products, that's the first item that should be sold to the market. And that's the first in, first out because that's that's that is usually utilized by the food industry or even beverage industry because they prepare the food. So once it is the first one who one finished food, and the one finished food prepared is not the one who being sold first from the customers. So possibly it may waste the food being prepared. So that's the reason why they tend to use the FIFO method. And for LIFO method, we have the last in first out. This somewhat most probably used by RTW products because some of the customers really wants the fresh items rather than the old ones. So that's it. That's the LIFO method. The two inventory methods that we are going to utilize or a way better to utilize with our inventory countings. Next is the supply chain and vendor management. So we need to create reliable partnership because a strong supplier relationship are golden. So we need to select carefully with due diligence. Second is to negotiate smart teams and or smart terms. So for us to know of how long the partnership is. And third is manage partnership with regular check-ins. So there's also monitoring, there's also feedbacking loops, and for us to be more for the business transaction, for the operations be more transparent and honest. Okay. So by then, a tip for a business startup. This is a tip for a business startup regarding with operational management. Always have at least two to three supplier options or supplier alternatives. Don't stick with one supplier or don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify them or diversify your resources, diversify your investment because once that one basket fall down, yan, all the eggs you put inside that basket will be cracked. So that's the reason why you need to don't stick or don't utilize or don't put all your eggs in one basket to diversify it. So same with choosing our suppliers. Don't stick with one supplier. Instead, always have at least two to three supplier alternatives because once the suppliers or first supplier get out of stock, then you have this what we call backups suppliers that will help you to to acquire the raw materials needed for you to to create or to produce another products for your key customers. Okay, so that's the supply chain and vendor management. So again, as a tip for choosing for vendor management, yan. So we need to select or to have at least 2 to 3 suppliers alternatives or supplier options. Okay. Next is the quality control systems. Okay, the quality control system, this is very, if we go back with our business model canvas, this is the main or the usual key activities of every organization to check the quality or to maintain its efficient controlling system with regards to the quality of a certain products or certain goods or services that we are being offered to the customers. Okay, so ensuring consistent product delivery. So we need to set standards. Yan. Set standard with regards to the delivery process and payment methods and delivering operations employee scheduling and for us to be more rebranded or strategically situated. Okay. Second is to have regular audits. For that audit, we tend to check on monitor the financial performance and financial positions of the organizations. So last is feedback loops because a business will really not go beyond its operations if there's no such feedbacks or comments from the customers because as business owners, we look or as entrepreneur, we 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 value our customers. We treat them as the blood life of our profit because without them who buys our products or who uh who buy our products or render our service or allow us to render our service, then we do have sales or revenues. So their feedbacks would really help us of the things we want things we need to improve or things we need to refine. Yan. For later on, after considering their feedbacks, after considering their comments, their suggestions, and we are it is um it has a potential that that customer will be our loyal customers because they feel valued. And imagine yourself as a customers. If someone or an owner or an entrepreneur value your suggestions, recommendations, or comments, you really feel more appreciated. At the same time, the level of confidence will also increases. Okay. Next is the scaling operations. We talk about the scaling operation. This is somewhat a metrics of how we are going to know or how to know that our business operations were successfully crafted or how our business plan papers successfully implemented. Okay, so preparing a startup for future growth. That letter presented on the screen is not an X but is an X. Yan, not a 3,000 or a K symbol. Yan. So it means that 10 times revenue. So we are now talking about the growth of the startup business that we established a while ago. So as your business operations grow, as your business transactions or as your family that refers to your employees, yan, the organization grow, the operations may also evolve or it must also evolve. Yan, given that the trend of the society, the demand of the customers has also shifted, yan, and the uh the market or the resources were also limited, and so we need to evolve our operations aligning with the need of the organization. So you need to 10 times your revenue, triple your customers, and improve internal efficiency by at least 20%. So one of the most effective ways to 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 improve the internal efficiency of the organization is by integrating technology. And that's a common ways na that we can do or we can employ for us to increase the internal efficiency of the organization, because again, with the use of or the help of the technology, if it is if it is used or employed correctly, and we are able to make our operations more convenient, more accessible. At the same time, it is somewhat hassle free to us, that is most specifically with regards to inventory count. Instead of manually checking all the items, we have that systems, applications, mobile applications, and that we can use, or web designs that we can utilize for us to get all the informations we need for us to know if the stocks are already limited or out of stocks, or we need to purchase, or etc. Okay, so that's the scaling operation that includes of how our business operation or business startup grows into evolving industries or evolving economy. Okay, so I guess this is the last part, the conclusion. And so as we wrap up on this session this evening, so let's take this moment to reflect. So as per discussion a while ago, operational management isn't always the flashiest part of running the business, but it's definitely one of the most important. And as long as you have your comprehensive business model canvas, you have your clear vision, so the operation flowchart will go its way. And so it's the backbone that keeps everything running smoothly behind the scenes. Without strong operations, even the most brilliant idea can fall apart. So for this evening, for that note, and so we covered some items this evening. First is how to design and improve workflows. And to design workflows, so of course, we need to consider crafting an operation flow chart and a service flow chart. Second is the importance of smart resource allocations. And so we need to think smarter, more specifically or particularly with regards to decision making process and budget allocations. Third is managing your cash flow wisely. Make sure or just monitor that your cash inflows should always be greater than your cash outflows. Then building the right team for from the ground up. So always hire people with right experience, right attitude, and has a greater potential, and not because they have something, they have place, or they have just place in your heart. And so for sustainability, at the same time, for the awareness of each employees, should develop, we must develop as entrepreneur, we must develop an organizational structure. Then fifth is integrating technology for efficiency and scalability. As I mentioned earlier, yan, integration of technology is very useful. Yeah, it's very useful because again, it helps us to be more productive, more convenient, and things we do are more accessible. Okay. And last is handling vendors, quality, and preparing for growth. So um, always look back with your vision. And we always, as entrepreneurs, we always not set, we do, or our main action is not to settle for less, but we always innovate, we always create things, we always take risk, controllable risk, and for us to be more sustainable and to achieve the growth that we need to achieve, or that we wish to fulfill. Okay, so with that part, or with that point, I hope this session inspires you to look to how you run things. So most particularly as teenagers, as students, with some at some point, even me, there's a point in time that I'm not really an organized person, but as I've study entrepreneurship, I was able to refresh or to reflect on things that I should fulfill, I should accomplish, to be more effective and to be more efficient in some way. at some point I am now entrepreneur and I'm now utilizing the effort, the skills, the knowledge that I've gained from the course that I graduated. So that's it. That's our topic, the operational management for business startup. So before we end the meeting, may I ask for your key takeaways for this session, or at least a short overview or short reflection of what you have learned from the lesson or the session for this evening. You can, or if you have some questions, you may type on the chat box and I'll answer it if I can.
All right, everyone, do you have a question so far? And thank you, Prof. Lan, for the explanation. That's a really comprehensive explanation. Yeah, so everyone, if you have a question, you may ask directly to Prof. Lan. And also, you can drop your question in the chat box. Can you give us reaction if you think that all the explanation are clear? Please give us a thumbs up reaction, let's say. All right. All right. I think they already understand what you have said, Prof. Lan. All right. So I think all the students are getting the clear explanation. Okay. There is a question maybe.
Good evening, sir.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understood, Mr. Operational management is about making things happen effectively and efficiently to achieve business startup goals, especially with limited resources. Okay, that's a reflection or a point of reflection by Dana Faye Kahapay, and thank you for that key takeaways. And that's good. That's good understanding because that's something I want really to make you all know. Yeah, that operational management is about making things happen effectively. Is most specifically of how we run things in our business organizations to make us more guided of what is the first step, the second step, the third step, and not go directly with the final step without knowing its basic concepts. Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Dana.
All right, another students, maybe do you want to share your thoughts on what we have learned tonight? Okay, silent means understand, yeah. Okay, I think the students have clear understanding about what we have learned today, Prof. Lan. Do you want
Okay.
to add your final remarks or some kind of the conclusion again?
Uh,
Very end
Actually,
session?
yeah, I just leave the I just leave the session with a message that to appreciate the time allocated by the students for this session. At the same time, thank you so much, Professor Novi, for moderating or for helping me out this session this evening. So by then, don't I as I've mentioned earlier, just as entrepreneur, we don't settle for less and try to explore things, innovate concepts, refine our business ideas. And because in the future, maybe uh, we are not a teacher, student, or professor and student, but we have a major role or functions within our in our community as well. Okay, thank you so much po.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for the explanation, for the presentation, Prof. Lan. All right, everyone. If you don't have a question, I think we came to the end of the online join class tonight. So this has been an interesting topic, yeah, that we learned tonight. And yeah, before we end the session, I would like to share the feedback. Wait a moment. Right, the link feedback. Kindly fill out the feedback. It is one of the requirements to get an e-certificate. And yeah, before we end the session, we are going to take a group photo. So kindly turn on your camera. We are going to take a picture. All right, everyone, kindly turn on your camera. Welcome university students, UTHM students, and also the NSC students. All right, great. All right, I would like to count. Put your best smile. 1, 2, 3. All right, wait a moment. One more time. Slide 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. One more time, yeah. Put your best smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Don't forget to join again in the last session, yeah. So next week we're going to have a last session of the Global Entrepreneurship 2025 on May 6, 2025 for the topic of financial planning for business startup. So don't forget to join again and see you and good evening.